there's a certain conversational flow to ensure that as you're going through it, you're shifting their mindset to where they go, wow, I need this, and wow, I really need this. And that's the key.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
So as I was saying, most course sales, anything really over 50 or $100 requires that you either do some kind of warm-up process of educating them about the benefits of what you're offering, or a dedicated webinar, a dedicated live where they can spend at least half an hour with you to learn about the benefits they'll get. Because just sending them a link and just having them go to a page is not enough oomph, not enough like emotional impact for them to go, yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
So it takes some selling, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It takes some actual selling of the course.
Do you recommend doing like regular webinars and then seeing from there what works, and then taking that information and putting it in, like, let's say a webinar funnel where they opt in and they like automating it?
Exactly. That would be exactly it. So you do them once every 3 or 4 weeks. You're gathering data, you're improving your presentation, so that way, somebody that didn't buy the first time, maybe the next time they buy, because it's the timing. So marketing is 3 things. It's the right message to the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
And we control the right message by writing good copy, and the right person, you already have the right people in your audience. So the right time is the only variable that's a little hard to control, but the only way you control that is because you got them on an email list and you're sending them consistent messaging.
Right.
And that's when the timing's right for them, they take advantage of it.
Okay, sounds good. I think we'll likely do a webinar end of this month or first week of September for the YouTube course, and see how that works.
Yeah, a big push for that would be good. Several emails ahead of it to warm people up. And even in those emails, you could have a little bit of content, tiny bit, not too much, because it's always going to be a little tease to the event, tease to the event, tease to the event. And definitely use either Russell Brunson's Perfect Webinar. I think that's a really good format for a webinar. I use that for every webinar I do because it's proven. I met Russell when he was first launching I met him. Yeah, the first time I met him in person was when he was first launching ClickFunnels. He was in LA doing a live seminar, and he was using the Perfect Webinar at the time, or starting to, in a live setting. So we went out to lunch. He said, yeah, we finally discovered the best way to sell this software is through a webinar format. And so from that point on, they've just perfected the idea of how to sell from stage or in a webinar. And yeah, there's a certain structure and flow to it. You cover certain, just like in the 16-word sales letter.
Yeah.
Same idea. There's a certain conversational flow to ensure that as you're going through it, you're shifting their mindset to where they go, wow, I need this, and wow, I really need this. And that's the key. I think what's missing from, if we just send a link, is, and no matter how good our sales copy might be, it's hard to shift mindset with just text or even video. So in a live webinar setting, everything's heightened and people are more interested and more carefully listening.
Okay.
And so the goal of the webinar is not to teach, and the goal of the webinar is even not to sell per se, although that is one of the goals. It's to shift mindset to where they go, now they're open to, yes, I need to invest in myself for this. And for a, relatively speaking, lower ticket course like this, you should do really well with a webinar.
Okay.
So webinars are typically meant for $1,000 and up.
Yeah,
courses.
that's why we never did that, because we never had a course like that. But okay, yeah.
But I think that because it's much lower price than that, then you should get much better results, especially if you could just pack it out and just make it an exciting event.
I'd like to talk to you about the Switch Away movement, which is helping people switch away from the big box consumer goods products that we all buy every week and switching toward far better quality products from a family-owned manufacturer here in the US. You may have seen this graphic that shows that almost every brand imaginable is owned by 11 giant corporations. And these corporations don't care very much about the quality they put into these products. So you end up buying low quality or even potentially toxic and dangerous products for your home without even knowing it. This can lead to disease, allergic reactions, and we don't even know that this is what's causing it. These giant corporations have way too much control over other things through what they promote in their stores or in their advertising. Maybe you don't support those things, but you feel like you have no choice. So you run to Target or Walmart to continue buying those products that are harmful to our bodies and our values at the same time. So if the idea of switching away to a higher quality, US-made, family-owned consumer goods company that actually cares about the ingredients they put into their products, in other words, they use far more healthy ingredients, and that compares favorably to the big box brands in terms of price, all delivered conveniently to your home, then be sure to visit switchaway.com/Dave to learn more about switching away. I switched away for me and my family, and I think you'll like it too.
And then one of the things I do in a webinar is I give away 3 vacations.
Oh yeah, yes.
At the very end.
Yeah.
So it just encourages people to stay to the end.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah.
I use the heck out of that thing. And people like it. It's it adds excitement. It makes it feel a little bit more like an event versus just a training or a webinar. So
yeah. Do you like in the emails leading up to that webinar, do you kind of use that as incentive for people?
I do. Yeah, I do at the very end. I don't want to make it to the core of the message.
Yeah.
I might do a PS.
Okay.
Or I might do toward the end of the email, just before the end. Say, by the way, we're going to be giving away 3 vacations. So you're definitely going to want to be there. Winner must be present to win, that kind of thing. And just a little blurb like that. Like, don't even really push it hard. Just as long as you just mention it, it's just that little extra oomph for people to get there.
Yeah.
And to stay there. The thing about a webinar is there's metrics that we measure. Like we measure how many people registered, how many people showed up at the beginning, how many people were there when we started the pitch, the offer, and how many people stayed to the very end. And then from that, how many people bought. So those are kind of the main things we measure, and we track every time we do a webinar. So I'm like, I'm literally, if somebody else is doing the webinar, I'm tracking like 180, 183.
Yeah.
I'm writing down.
Yeah.
And then when the pitch starts, I write that number and circle that one, because that's important, because then you can see your conversion rate from, okay, we had 80 people that stayed that were there at the pitch. And then as soon as you start pitching, you start losing some people.
Yeah.
And then, okay, how many from that started at the pitch, how many bought? And so you're tracking your conversion rate.
Okay.
On the webinar. That way you can measure it against next month's webinar and so on. And you can kind of get a sense. This data is super important because it will inform any changes you might want to make. Like if you saw, for example, that there was a lot of people dropping off before you even got to the pitch, and you got to make that webinar more interesting and exciting and keep them involved, or mention, whatever reason you have for them to stay till the end. Sometimes it doesn't have to be a vacation either. You could give away, hey, we're going to give away this checklist that we use in our business, blah, 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 at the very end.
Yeah.
It could be anything that incentivizes them to stick around to the end. But those are just a few things about the webinar. You keep track of those numbers because that's what you can improve each time.
So you are doing it manually, it sounds like.
I am. I mean, that's just how I do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, what would we use to kind of track that? I mean, you can track how many people attended at certain intervals.
Yeah. And there might be a webinar tool that does it for you, but I usually use Zoom or GoToWebinar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just kind of a habit to keep track of those things.
Okay, sounds good. My next step with that is just to pick a date and start planning that. I'll wait till you send me that the perfect webinar. I have some notes on it, I think from a while back, but yeah, it would be helpful to see to just fresher.
It's always good to use those things that are already proven, and especially with Russell's teaching, like the webinar template, the PowerPoint with his teaching, he really brings it to life and explains why you want to do certain things, certain ways at certain times.
Yeah.
All that is really good.